we are going to talk about emotional intelligence. And I always say manage your emotions before they manage you. So we'll find out what exactly is it. We keep hearing this term emotional intelligence. What is it? How does it matter? What are the pros and cons of managing your emotions very well? So by the end of today's conversation, you will understand what it is in a very practical way. You will see how managing your emotions helps you to think better, lead better, relate better, and live with more peace. Let's be very honest, guys. Most people are not living their life. They are living their reactions. So most people live in a state of reaction or resistance. So one comment made by someone can spoil your whole day. One message changes the mood. One setback that we have can make you have a lot of self-doubt. Our faith or fear shapes our decision, and mostly it is fear. So let me start with what is emotional intelligence. It is the ability to notice what you are feeling, understand what is happening inside you, and respond wisely instead of reacting blindly. So remember one thing, when you are reacting, you are definitely not in control. Your brain is not really in control. So emotional intelligence is not about suppressing your emotions. It is not about pretending to be calm. It is not about becoming nice all the time. And it is definitely not about becoming weak. So, what is it? It is about being aware enough that you're so aware that you can say, this is what I'm feeling. This is what is getting triggered inside of me. And this is how I choose to respond. So, in other words, what is emotional intelligence? It is inner leadership. Letting this mind be in control, not your reactive mind. So, accomplished people, they know you can feel very deeply without becoming unstable. You can care for people very deeply without collapsing. You can get upset without becoming destructive. You can be afraid without handing over the control to the fear. That is emotional intelligence. Why is it so important? Because our emotions will shape our attention. They will shape our interpretation, how we interpret what we are looking at. Everything. They shape our decision making. They shape our memory. They shape our relationships. So if you do not know how to use your emotions, emotions will take control of you. And then you will only be reacting to things that are happening. So that is why you have seen very, very intelligent people who make foolish decisions and foolish choices in an emotional moment. So you can understand, and you are now seeing in the world what happens when an emotionally unstable leader is in charge. And that is why sometimes very, very nice people, when they get triggered and when they become angry, they can say some very, very nasty things and you're wondering what happened to them. So having knowledge is not enough here. We have lots of knowledge. Emotional intelligence is something that allows you to use your knowledge under pressure also. Otherwise, in unusual circumstances, most people's brain does not work. Okay, so let's make it a little practical here. There are five core parts of emotional intelligence. The first one is self-awareness. Being aware of what's happening with you. Can you recognize what you're feeling right now? Can you tell the difference between anger and hurt? Can you tell the difference between fear and stress? Can you tell the difference between disappointment and shame? See, if you cannot identify what you're really feeling, you will simply be in control of that feeling. You can become short-tempered, cold, defensive, clingy, withdrawn, and you don't even know why it's happening. So the moment you can name the emotion, you are creating some maneuvering room for yourself. Instead of saying everything is wrong, you may say, I am feeling a bit anxious right now. Instead of saying, I am done with this person, you may realize that I felt dismissed, so I felt hurt. So clarity is very, very powerful. Point number 2 is called self-regulation. You are regulating yourself. This is the ability to manage what you feel without denying that you're feeling it and without dumping it on other people. See, anybody can react, anybody can burst, anybody can send an angry message. But it takes a lot of maturity to pause, to hold that emotion and consciously choose a behavior rather than automatically reacting. The third point about emotional intelligence is motivation. So, emotionally intelligent people do not wait for perfect feelings before taking action. They know how to reconnect with a purpose. They know how to move even when they are feeling discouraged. They know how to use emotion as an energy rather than the excuses that we normally give. So the fourth part of this emotional intelligence is empathy. Can I understand what another person may be feeling? Can I sense the other person's fear, pain, pressure, or need, even if I don't agree with them? And the fifth part is social skill. Can I communicate clearly? Can I manage conflict? Can I build trust? Can I create connection instead of unnecessary friction? So these 5 capacity will change everything. Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skill. How beautiful it is. And we can develop all these. These are capacities that we can learn. So let's bring a little bit of brain science in a simple way. Inside the brain, there is a structure called the amygdala. 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 It's a little fellow. It's an emotional alarm system. The job of this amygdala is not wisdom, it is speed, quick reacting. If something feels threatening, embarrassing, painful, or unsafe, this amygdala quickly reacts. Tuck, it goes. And it reacts even before the thinking part of your brain has assessed that situation. Now, this is very useful when there is real life-threatening danger. But my friends, in everyday life, the amygdala often reacts not only to danger, but also to discomfort. The reaction is the same. If somebody disagrees with you, you will feel rejected and react. If somebody gives you feedback, you can feel like somebody is attacking you and you'll react. If somebody goes into silence, you feel that they are ignoring you and then you react. Uncertainty. The amygdala reacts in the same way, like it is life-threatening. So what happens? Instantly, the reaction, the breath becomes short, the jaw becomes tight, the mind creates stories, the nervous system is getting ready to fight. And you might have noticed how quickly, in fact instantly, this happens. That is why emotional intelligence is important. So when an emotional alarm goes off too quickly before your brain has the time to react, you need to develop another capacity and have it ready with you. So this is the role of the wiser brain, number 3, wiser reflective part of your brain, especially this prefrontal area that helps you to evaluate the consequences of your words and action. It helps you to pause your impulses, and it helps you to choose a better response rather than your auto mode reaction. So to put it very simply, the emotional intelligence helps you, or rather it helps your thinking brain to stay connected with the emotional part of you. It stays connected. It does not get disconnected when the emotional brain gets loud. So remember, I've told you many times, when you are reacting, your thinking brain gets switched off. And if you develop emotional intelligence, it may not get switched off. Okay? That is why practices like deep breathing, mindfulness, pausing, and reframing are very powerful techniques, and you have learned all of them. Now, let us look at the benefits of managing your emotions very well. So the first one is clarity. So when you're not hijacked by anger, fear, guilt, or shame, you can actually see what is true. You stop confusing feelings with facts. You stop assuming the worst. Now you stop creating, making up stories and calling them reality. And obviously, the next benefit would be better decisions. So we tend to make wrong decisions when we are charged up, when we are reactive, isn't it? Like, for example, a resignation done in anger, a commitment made from guilt, a silence coming out of fear. So when you manage your emotions very well, you stop making permanent decisions from a temporary situation. The third most positive benefit of emotional intelligence is your relationship improves. Relationships improve. Emotionally responsible people create safety. People feel safe with them. People are not worried, when is the next explosion going to come from? Others may not always agree with them, but they trust them. Others know that they can speak honestly to them. They know that the disagreement will not become a drama. They know that one difficult moment will not become an emotional warfare. It often happens, right? So remember one thing, trust is not built only by love. It is built by emotional steadiness. Now the fourth very big benefit of emotional intelligence is that your leadership becomes better. Whether you are leading your family or a classroom or a business or simply your own life, it makes you more, emotional intelligence makes you more effective. Why? Because you're really using your brain. No? So remember, when people are with you, just remember this, people are deeply influenced. They're influenced by the nervous system of the person in front of them. Yeah. So if you are emotionally in control, calmness will spread. Yeah. And if you are in a panic mode, what will happen? Panic will spread. If you are present, presence will spread. If you are reactive, reactivity will spread. So if you are a leader, whether in the family or otherwise, if you stay grounded under pressure, you become a stabilizing force. The fifth major benefit of this emotional intelligence is it reduces stress. Not because your life is becoming easier, you stop creating another layer of suffering. See, the event is one thing, Your emotion is another thing. If you allow yourself to be overwhelmed emotionally, then obviously your stress will become much more, na? So, problem is we are mentally replaying the reaction. So, emotional intelligence will reduce unnecessary suffering. The sixth one, your body will benefit, okay, if you are emotionally in control. See, unmanaged emotion does not stay in the mind. It goes deep. It goes into your sleep. It goes into your digestion. It goes into your posture. It goes into your breathing. It goes into your muscles. And now research shows that even your immunity goes down when you're stressed. So the body is listening to your emotional life even before anybody else can see it. And one very big benefit of emotional intelligence is that your confidence becomes deeper. Real confidence. You know, the kind of confidence which says, whatever I feel, I can face it. Whatever rises in me, I don't have to become like that. I may not control every situation, but I can learn to respond with awareness. And that is called freedom. Now, I don't have to tell you what happens if you don't manage your emotions. Relationships are damaged. Everything is damaged. Your perception becomes distorted. Your thinking is unclear. Your decision making goes bad and so on. It's a long list, but you know this because you experience the impact of people or your own uncontrolled emotions. So, simple method that you can use, I have told it to you many times. Pause, name, breathe and choose. So the moment you feel triggered, what do? You pause, take a deep breath. Then you name the emotion that you're experiencing. Then take a couple of deep breaths. And by now your emotions are much more in control. And then you choose. Yeah? So the moment you feel triggered, do not trust your first impulse automatically. Pause before replying. Pause before deciding. Pause before speaking. You know, if you do this for 5 seconds, it will save you from 5 days of regret. Name the specific emotion you're feeling. Be specific. I'm angry or I'm ashamed, I'm threatened, whatever it is. And remember one thing, the more accurately you name it, the less it has control over you. Then you take a breath or two, relax yourselves, relax your body, etc. Yeah, remember emotion is not only mental, it is physiological also. So relax your body. Your emotion will also start getting in control. And then you make a choice. You ask yourself, what response would my wiser self choose here? What response would me as an infinite being choose over here? What response will choose, serve everyone? What response will be good for everyone here? What response will be better for the long term? So, ladies and gentlemen, emotions can be your best friend if you use them, or they can be your worst enemy if they use you. And I also want to remind you, circumstances control you through your feelings. Circumstances are what triggers your feelings. Huh? So if you are strong or intelligent emotionally and you are in charge of your feelings, then circumstances cannot control you. How wonderful is that? So thank you very much, guys. Use this to make your life better and make everybody else's life better also.